We can now all agree that the moral crimes committed here by Ryan Reynolds against Justin Baldoni have amounted to high treason. After having read through the amended lawsuit, Ryan absolutely must go home, and I have got some major scoops. I mean, everybody's talking because the sink is shipping and people want to get onto lifeboats.
What I'm thinking is, what Brian Friedman is going to say is, so you were upset that you say your wife was harassed? And he's going to say yes. And he's going to say, yet
unaware of anybody, frankly, whose wife has been sexually harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation.
Celebrities avoiding Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds really goes to show that their careers are pretty much done and over.
But funny enough, you can't find the entire video. I only found the clip. So it was very bizarre that that clip just was sitting somewhere in the clouds, and I couldn't find the full video, but that's what I found.
Says he went in there, Ryan Reynolds starts gushing with praise about Blake Lively's rewrite. He says that meeting happened, and then a few hours later, Taylor Swift waltzes into the room and also gushes with praise over the—
Did you know that one of Hollywood's most respected directors allegedly swore never to collaborate with Ryan Reynolds again after their first project together? Or that a former co-star once described working with him as the worst experience of his career? Over the next 12 minutes, we're diving into the behind-the-scenes stories the public rarely hears, the incidents that reportedly turned 5 well-known celebrities against the man audiences know as a lovable—
Look very familiar, and that Blake Lively would certainly know because she did almost the exact same scene. Yeah.
Wow.
And
it's strikingly similar.
Some of the dance moves, the spitting of her. Now you could say, look, that's just fan theory, is that Ryan Reynolds saw that scene in It Ends With Us, and it was a trigger, and that he is, because there are some people who feel like he is the one who's driving all of this and telling Blake. I don't think, that seems very unfair to Blake Lively, to me.
That's pretty diabolical.
Who also had an experience, she has said, in her lawsuit that she was sexually harassed.
Right. That theory completely minimizes her feelings here, but—
Right. But some fans who are, of course, going to keep theorizing on this as long as it keeps
So is the idea that Ryan was jealous and he thought, oh, hey—
Yes. And look, this has been like an ongoing theory that like Ryan Reynolds is the guy that's behind all of this because people feel that Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively were secretly in love while filming this. And if you listen to some of like the voice text that he sent her, it seems like a very, like they had originally like a very intimate conversation and like, you know, just their conversations were just very like
at 2 a.m. Or that's just his voice at 2 a.m.
Yes, but fans are really reading into this and they're like, you know, Ryan is so jealous of this relationship. He's trying to torpedo this. And look, at the end of the day, the scenes do kind of look alike. You know, the interaction, the camera angles, the dancing, but it's just another scene in any other movie.
Stay tuned because the fourth name on this list may surprise you the most. Most fans remember when Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds appeared together in Green Lantern, but there's another major star who reportedly refuses to share space with him, Sandra Bullock, his former co-star in The Proposal. Their on-screen chemistry in The Proposal helped make it a box office hit, with critics praising their dynamic performances. Off-camera, they initially seemed to have a strong professional rapport, and studios were eager to reunite them for future projects. However, according to industry insiders, tensions surfaced during the filming of a key emotional scene. Reynolds allegedly began improvising, introducing ad-libs that caught Bullock off guard. The moment was meant to highlight her character's vulnerability, something she had prepared for extensively, but it reportedly shifted into a showcase for his humor. A source close to production claims Reynolds repeatedly altered dialogue, inserting jokes that diluted the emotional weight of the scene. What may have remained a private disagreement reportedly escalated during the press tour. In interviews, Reynolds often credited his improvisational style for the scene's success, rarely acknowledging Bullock's performance, which many felt anchored the moment. The situation allegedly reached a peak at the 2013 Met Gala, where witnesses say Reynolds avoided interacting with her despite their proximity. When mutual friends attempted to gather them for a photo, he reportedly excused himself, leaving Bullock visibly uncomfortable. Since then, insiders claim Bullock has declined multiple projects because Reynolds was attached, including a rumored sequel to The Proposal that could have earned her a substantial 8-figure salary. Though she has never publicly criticized him, her team has reportedly made it clear to producers, casting requires choosing one or the other. Sandra Bullock isn't the only high-profile figure said to have drawn a line. Behind the wisecracking persona of Deadpool lies another partnership that allegedly fell apart, this time with TJ Miller, who played Weasel. Why would Miller step away from one of the most lucrative superhero franchises in history? According to insiders,
in there, Ryan Reynolds starts gushing with praise about Blake Lively's rewrite. He says that meeting happened, and then a few hours later, Taylor Swift waltzes into the room and also gushes with praise over the rewrite of the scene. And he says, and his words in the lawsuit are pretty clear, he says, "It was clear to me that I was being pressured to go with Blake Lively's rewrite." He then wrote to Blake Lively and said, "Listen, that meeting was cool. I liked your pages anyway. You didn't really need to. I liked your pages even before Taylor and Ryan came out to
In the early development of Deadpool, Reynolds wasn't just the lead actor. He was deeply involved in shaping the project. Sources describe him as heavily engaged in script revisions, production choices, and marketing strategy. He didn't just portray Deadpool, one crew member reportedly said, he embodied the character in every aspect of the production. This level of involvement allegedly created friction with Miller. During filming, Reynolds' frequent improvisation reportedly expanded his own material, while shrinking Miller's moments on screen. A production insider claims that Miller would prepare for agreed-upon scenes only to find them reworked around additional punchlines from Reynolds. The tension reportedly intensified during the film's promotional campaign, managed in part by Reynolds' marketing company Maximum Effort. Miller's visibility in posters and trailers was said to be noticeably limited. Alleged text exchanges suggest Miller confronted Reynolds about feeling sidelined. Reynolds reportedly reassured him that the sequel would offer greater opportunities. However, when the script for Deadpool 2 arrived, Miller allegedly felt his character had been reduced to little more than a cameo. Witnesses claim a heated confrontation followed, with raised voices and studio executives intervening. Later, in an interview, Miller openly stated he would not work with Reynolds again, describing the experience as deeply unpleasant and claiming that tensions on set became difficult to ignore.
While TJ Miller departed made headlines, another controversy reportedly runs even deeper. Before Ryan Reynolds became a billion-dollar box office force, his career had endured several setbacks. Green Lantern underperformed, and R.I.P.D. struggled critically and commercially. At that point, insiders suggest he was searching for a transformative idea. According to multiple sources, comedian Dane Cook, Reynolds' former co-star in Waiting, had long been developing a passion project, an irreverent, R-rated superhero concept that broke the fourth wall and mocked genre tropes. Months after Cook allegedly pitched the idea at an industry gathering, Reynolds began developing a project with strikingly similar themes, what would eventually become Deadpool. Sources claim Cook privately expressed concern about the similarities, but Reynolds reportedly dismissed the overlap as coincidence. Alleged email exchanges suggest Cook sought acknowledgement for his influence, while Reynolds' legal representatives warned against public accusations.
Whoa, nice! Nice!
They followed me.
See, that's funny. That's a reveal because she's like, can we just stop? But then she's in your DMs like, girl, keep it going.
She liked my post and she's like, oh, your coverage on this is amazing. And I messaged her, she's like, you better keep going. And I'm like,
wow, that's an exclusive. That's hilarious.
I know. And the biggest, like, my favorite, I don't know if you ever watched Rizzoli and Isles.
Yes.
Dr. Isles has a podcast she's starting, and she messaged me. She wants me to come on.
It's wild. Enjoy. Well deserved. Well deserved. Well, I love it. We'll talk more later. I would love, because I figured out where you are, but You're not in LA because we're filming a lot of people in LA, and I'd love to include you in our doc if you're willing, but we'll talk more about that as we go. But while I have you, we do have some Ryan Reynolds updates I wanted to share. And so rather than just play your video, I thought it'd be fun if we could actually get you on here.
Notebook.
Oh, you got wow, that is the notebook?
No, this is the book of truth. It's everything. It's
amazing. Amazing. You are doing the work. You are helping us get to the truth. So there's been a few Ryan Reynolds updates. First, before we get to even yours, I'm assuming you saw Matthew Lawrence was calling him out as well. Matthew Lawrence has the Brotherly Love podcast with the Lawrence brothers. Good for them. They're relevant again through this podcast. Whoa, that's what I think of. Blossom, whoa. Here he was talking about Ryan.
It just missed the mark, but it was a really interesting movie. Great script.
Frankenbold or something was the movie?
The funny part about it is that the production team was having a really hard time with Ryan. Now, this is young Ryan.
He wanted to wear his own clothes.
Wait a minute.
Wait a second. Are you telling me he was sending texts to the studio?
I've heard that before.
Back in the mid-90s. I wonder where Blake learned it from.
I'll never forget.
Allegedly.
I'll never
all hearsay.
That's what they call an MO.
I was.
Go ahead. Sorry, I meant to pause. What were you saying?
I said that's what they call a method of operation on a criminal shows. That's an MO, if I've ever seen it.
Yes.
I'd grown up in the industry, so I'd known my way around a set. By that point, I was dialed in, right?
You couldn't keep him away from craft service.
He wasn't dialed in.
I'm just kidding.
Okay? And he'd walk out, didn't really, just wanted to kind of do his thing. And the producers were getting really upset because they said, and they even told him that, Ryan, this is a bad Jim Carrey impersonation. We don't want, just not what we hired you to do. We thought, you can't impersonate somebody, you gotta do your own thing. And he got upset at that, and he was like, I'm doing my thing. And then I was privy to a meeting between the director, and this crew had come from, I think they were just nominated for an Oscar. So
Can I just love that we are in the state of the world where actors who don't get as much work can now make a podcast and dole out these old stories of the people that they always wanted to rag on. You go, Matthew Lawrence.
And it's a moneymaker now.
Kind of a big deal at that moment. Talk about frustrations on set with actors. Right. And I'll never forget being privy to this movie going, I can't believe this guy. We had so much hope for this guy. He's going nowhere.
That's funny. He's like the biggest. Literally the biggest.
You never know in Hollywood, folks.
But here's the difference.
You never know.
So anyway, but he was young. Do you fault him, Elsrich, on this one? Is this your story's worse? That's why I started with the last one. What do you think of this?
I wish he would call me and told me this story personally, so I could have released it with my wits, because I would have done numbers with the story. I mean, the comparisons I could have found within the story and what Blake is doing is just amazing to me. I wish everybody would come out the woodworks. I still feel like there are people who are scared to speak their truth, and it's amazing to me. Actually,
it's like Armie Hammer when he was so afraid to talk about Blake Lively clearly firing him.
Oh yeah. And that's not even the worst of Gossip Girl stories that could come out. So
a veteran comedian later described the situation as an open secret, suggesting Cook lacked the resources to challenge Reynolds' growing influence. In a 2019 podcast appearance, Cook alluded to a Canadian actor who had built success on a concept he had spent years refining. Though he never named Reynolds directly, the implication fueled ongoing speculation within entertainment circles. While some disputes unfolded quietly, another reportedly played out behind the scenes of late-night television. Observers have noted that despite frequent appearances on numerous talk shows, Reynolds has been absent from Jimmy Kimmel Live for years. He was once a popular guest on the program, known for his quick humor and polished storytelling. But according to production insiders, a 2018 appearance changed everything. Shortly before taping, host Jimmy Kimmel reportedly discovered that Reynolds' marketing company had arranged a viral stunt involving planted audience members, pre-recorded segments, and surprise effects without prior approval from the show's producers. A staff member claims Kimmel confronted Reynolds backstage, insisting the program was not a platform for unauthorized promotional campaigns. Reynolds reportedly defended the concept as innovative marketing. Though the segment ultimately aired without the stunt, viewers allegedly sensed underlying tension. Days later, Reynolds posted comments on social media referencing old media resistance to modern promotional tactics. The situation escalated when a scheduled return appearance was abruptly canceled, only for Reynolds to perform a similar stunt on a competing late-night show the same evening. According to a senior producer, the fallout was lasting, and he has not been invited back since. So what do these reported conflicts reveal about Hollywood's most charismatic star? Behind the humor and sharp self-awareness that helped build his empire lies a more complex portrait. Reynolds' transformation from an actor navigating box office disappointments to the head of a powerful entertainment and business brand did not happen without controversy. A pattern appears in these accounts: disputes over creative authority, aggressive marketing tactics, and an unrelenting drive to dominate both screen and spotlight. Yet the larger question remains, does any—
Back to that picture real quick. It's really interesting. A lot of them are just not looking at him at all, even though he's standing and talking. That's really interesting. And nobody's amused, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, they just thought it was puzzling that they would be out considering all the things that have been said in this war between Blake and Justin. So now, that's not to say that they were completely ignored. From what we've heard, there were people who were talking to them. Paul McCartney, strangely enough, was hanging out with them. But there were other people who actually avoided them, is what we heard, that were just didn't want to get into conversation with them.
Well, you can understand it. They're sort of radioactive. In one breath, Blake Lively is saying she was the subject of serious sexual harassment during the filming of It Ends With Us, and now they're making light of it on SNL's 50th reunion show. So tonally, it does seem off, and I can imagine people just wanting to stay away from it. You're going to catch shrapnel if you get involved in this drama at this point.
You know what?
That's probably the point. Like,
can I tell you,
don't want to catch a stray.
The craziest thing about everything that's unfolding. Okay, I get the Blake Lively thing, and I know that there is a history there that people have been talking about, and the war with Justin Baldoni. But to say the word radioactive in the same sentence as Ryan Reynolds is unbelievable.
It's because we were not there. That's just not where Hollywood was, and
it was the opposite.
Complete opposite.
One of the most beloved actors in this town. And that's why, look, when you see people doing commercials, you know that they've checked out their popularity. I mean,
because normally that's something that actors don't want to do, but you know he knows he can do it because it's not going to affect his Q rating.
Yet now he is in the middle of this whole thing, and really was in the middle of it. It's just nobody knew it until now. But it's breathtaking the way he's been kind of balled up in this whole thing.
Yeah.
And by the way, his lawyer, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, was on Billy Bush's podcast yesterday, and he had some choice words about Ryan Reynolds' choice words.
What did you think when you saw, Ryan, make light of the situation? I guess try to find some humor in all this.
I'm unaware of anybody, frankly, whose wife has been sexually harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation. I can't think of anyone who's done anything like that, and so it surprised me.
So I got to tell you, all I'm thinking in my head is one word: deposition. Because when Ryan Reynolds sits for a deposition, if it gets that far—
Tell us about when you went in for the meeting and going over the script with SNL.
Well, what I'm thinking
is
what Brian Friedman is going to say is, so you were upset that you say your wife was harassed? And he's going to say yes. And he's going to say, yet you kind of made a joke of it, or made a joke of it.
Well,
that's what he'll
more
say.
than asking Ryan, he's going to put that question to Blake, because she's sitting there, she's party to it in and reacting to the lines.
You're going to do it with both, but you're going to do it with Ryan.
Right.
You're going to do it
but
with
my
both.
point is, did you say to Blake, you
were sitting there, you
so
co-signed
upset.
on it. You co-signed on it. So it's like these things bites you in the ass sometimes.
Right. It's sort of like when there's a case going on, we always say that you don't hear the people speak out about it at all. This happened with Alec Baldwin during his case, and he sat and did a big interview, and we're like, that was really puzzling. This is why people generally zip up when they're in the middle.
Did it truly affect his trajectory? With the global success of the Deadpool franchise, thriving business ventures, and lucrative production deals, Reynolds occupies a rare tier of influence. In an industry fueled by relationships, he continues to succeed despite reported tensions with prominent figures. Will these strained connections eventually impact his standing? Or has Ryan Reynolds mastered the art of navigating and even outmaneuvering the Hollywood system? Only time will determine whether the industry's favorite jokester ever faces consequences for the bridges allegedly burned along the way.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds really goes to show that their careers are pretty much done and over. Blake Lively more than Ryan Reynolds. Radioactive is the same word that describes them. If you look at Robert De Niro's face as well as Kevin Costner, it's extremely telling. They're done, and it's no wonder everyone avoided them like the plague, and others were just trying to keep it